Okay. ln of xy minus y cubed equals 1. Did I just want you to find dy dx? Did I want you to... We don't remember?
I have a photo of it.
Oh, you have a photo of it. Good. That's good news.
Thanks, you guys.
Which one it was is a good question.
Find it?
Oh, okay. You find the photo of it. Got it. Got it.
There's sparkles.
Got it.
Okay. Old people eyes.
So is this is not on the worksheet when you're doing
That's
it?
correct. Okay, so the first thing it says is show that dy over dx is equal to y over x times 3y cubed minus 1. And it says find the coordinates of the point where the tangent to the curve is parallel. Parallel spelled wrong.
The same idea.
I know, huh? Thanks. Parallel to the y-axis.
They're a math teachers, okay?
Thank
That's
you.
spelling too.
And then it says give it to 3 sig figs. Okay. And we're finding the coordinates of the point parallel to the y-axis. It's 3 sig figs.
And we know it's going to be x equals something. It's just going to be a line that goes.
It's going to be a
yeah.
line that goes straight up and down. So number one priority is to find dy dx. So I hope you would agree with me that there are things intermingled, x and y touching each other in this aspect. So we are going to utilize this technique called implicit differentiation, which allows me just to take the derivative as it sits. Okay. So the challenge here is to remind myself, how do I take a derivative of the natural log? Well, it's du over u.
Yes.
It's the derivative of whatever that stuff inside the natural log is over itself. So at this point, what's the stuff inside the natural log? xy. So, right. So the whole thing is going to be something over xy for that component. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what is the du part of it? Well, it's going to be the derivative of the first, so the derivative of x. All right, so the derivative of the first times the second, okay, so far, plus the first,
Times the derivative of the second, 1.
which is 1
dy
dy
dx.
dx. So that would have been what was new yesterday, is we know that we're taking a derivative, and we're doing it with respect to x. So therefore, anytime I take a derivative of y, I have to attach dy dx to it. Yes,
So, but then if you don't have that, like, is that going to come into play later on?
absolutely. You need to have the dy dx.
Yeah.
So that is a derivative of this.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it ugly for now. Okay, moving over. What's the derivative of y cubed?
3y squared.
dy dx.
3y
Yeah.
squared
dy dx
dy dx
equals
means
0.
What is it? 0. Now, what's the biggest mistake people make?
They put the 1.
They forget to take the derivative of a single number like that to become 0. Every time. I don't know
Any
why.
opportunity I get to have the 0, I'm going to take it.
Yeah, for sure. I want it too. Now, I have a fraction. You know me. Frightened by fractions. So I'm going to multiply everything by xy.
Mm-hmm.
So if I multiply this guy by xy, it's gone.
Yeah.
If I multiply this by xy, I have xy in there.
Yeah.
If I multiply this by xy,
It's gone.
It's 0, right?
Yeah.
It's gone. So that's what I'm going to do now. So xy times everything. That way I'm working with something a little easier.
Yeah.
So I would have y plus x dy dx. The 1 is of 1, right? So
Yeah.
we're good there?
Minus 3
Minus
xy cubed
3xy cubed.
dy dx
Okay, dy dx
equals 0.
equals 0. Have I lost anyone there?
I have.
So easy enough?
Yeah, so
Okay.
subtract the y and then factor d1 dx.
Right, so the idea is I want to get anything that does not have dy dx attached to the right-hand side of the equal sign, and everything that has dy dx keep on the left.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to bring the y over first and foremost. So I would have x dy dx minus 3x y cubed dy dx equals negative y.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So how do you know where to place the dy dx's? Because we
Oh,
had
it's
2
in
of
the
them.
back. Yeah.
So if you have a fraction, it's attached to the top, and then if you have another term, put another dy dx. Now, if you had another term after the y cubed, would you have to put another dy dx?
Yeah, if there was a y in it.
So every time you have a new term, you have to put a dy
Anytime you have
dx.
a derivative of y, you attach it to it. Okay, are we good so far? Now, I'm going to come this way, so I'm not in the way. I'm going to factor out dy dx.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm left with x minus 3xy cubed equals negative y.
Just divide that junk.
Right, divide the junk. So, I'm going to divide the junk, dy dx is equal to negative y over x minus 3xy cubed.
Factor out next.
Because dilemma
That's
is,
got a negative X there.
okay, let's talk. Yeah, that's exactly, look at what they have. Look at what they have here, okay? And look at what I have. So number one difference so far is the y is negative there, but not up there, right? And here, I should see that there's an x up front,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
okay? But I need this to become positive.
Yeah.
So the only way to make that y positive is to factor out a negative x.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I have dy dx.
It doesn't matter which variable is negative. One of the variables is negative on a negative fraction, right? Like this
No,
one?
no, no,
Yeah.
right, it doesn't matter. Oh, I gotta answer this for 2 seconds, hold on. So we're gonna factor out the x, okay? So we have a negative x, thank you. So we have a negative x coming out. Now, if I factor out a negative x here, what becomes of this?
Negative 1.
Negative 1.
Yes.
And then what becomes of this?
Positive 3y cubed.
Right. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to recognize that answer is a little bit different because it's flipped the, use the commutative property of addition, to move that like
Yeah.
that. And the negatives
Just cancel.
each other out. So,
Right, right.
I actually got that.
are we feeling it?
Yeah.
Yep. Ms. Karen,
Yes.
how many points would this kind of a problem be?
It's on there. On the picture, does it relay how many points it was?
Let me check.
I'm assuming 7 or 9 points.
There was a lot of work
Whole
involved.
question.
This part was 4.
Okay.
And
The next part is also 4.
Okay, so it's an 8-point question.
Yeah.
Oh, 8.
These are beautiful. Yeah, these are beautiful. Okay, so now we're done. Now, here's the beauty. I don't know how to get from point A to point B. I can't get it. But I could do part II.
Because they give you the
I got
answer.
the answer.
Yeah.
So if they give you the answer, use it by all means. Okay.
Yeah.
Try to pull some points if
It's
you
like
can.
that volume thing.
Kind of like the volume thing, where they give you something and you kind of utilize it as you go. All right, so it now wants me to find the coordinates of the point parallel to the y-axis. Correct to 3 sig figs. So, things to think about. Cute. Things to think about. If we're looking for something that's parallel to the y-axis, I know that the slope of it is...
It's going to be x equals something.
So, but slope. The slope exactly is
Undefined.
undefined.
Right.
So remember, when I take a derivative of something, it is the slope of any tangent line, any potential, right? So how would I make this particular slope become undefined? What causes it?
0 in the denominator.
Right,
Yeah.
so for the denominator to be equivalent to 0.
Okay,
Does that make
what's
sense?
my question?
Yeah. So you're gonna actually make the whole denominator equal to 0.
So make x equal to 0.
And we know why that happens because you have a fraction and x is in the denominator. So there's something that you can plug in there that's going to make it 0.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay? So if I'm looking at this right now, I see I have that going on, right?
Yeah.
So let's continue to work through this process.
Divide by x, it cancels.
So if I set both components equal to 0, if I set both components equal to 0, I know that this happens when x is 0.
Mm-hmm.
So far so good. Right? And then 3y cubed minus 1 is 0.
And it's y
Y, what is it?
1.
Well, it's 3y cubed equals
Oh,
1.
yeah. 1/3.
So we have 3y cubed equals 1, y cubed equals 1/3, and then this is
Take the cube root.
Y over the cube root of
1/3. So it's y equals,
0.037.
y over the cube.
0.0370. It's a repeating decimal.
How does it say it?
and what is it, point?
0.037. 0.037. It's repeating.
Okay,
Which is nice.
that is
Repeating
nice,
decimal.
that is nice. Okay, now,
So it's 0, comma, 0.037. They want the coordinates of that point.
yeah, So if I plug in, zero for my x, what coordinate do I get for y? If I plug in my 0.037 for y, what coordinate do I get for x? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They want to put it back in the original.
So let's do it, right? So let's go through the process and see what happens here. So if I plug in 0 for x, what happens? I get ln of 0.
1.
One,
Yeah.
One, and then you multiply it by.
Oh, it's error.
undefined? Oh.
That's okay.
So that doesn't work.
So tell me why. It's now become a non-option.
Yeah.
Because when I plug it in, I go, uh-oh, that won't work
Mm-hmm.
because it's undefined. So what is the only one that will work?
0.037.
Y.
0.037. So let's go through the process of plugging that in.
Yep.
Okay, so let's see how we would solve. So we would have the ln of x times 0.037. So far, so good.
Yep.
Minus 0.037 cubed.
Which is
One
one.
third, right?
Which is 1/3. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you.
Ooh, very interesting. Didn't think about that. Yeah. So we have the ln of x times 0.037. So if I really was looking at this properly, it really should look like this. The ln of 0.037x. And then you guys told me it's 1/3 equals really 3/3 if I'm going to play the game right. Yes.
I thought it was ln of x, and then that 0.037 is being multiplied by that ln of x.
No, this
Yeah,
whole
they're
thing is
both
one
the
unit.
same.
Remember?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what order you write them in.
Right,
They're all
right.
multiplied together.
So now what? I add 1/3 over, so I have the ln of 0.037x. So far, so good. And that is equal to 4/3. Would you
Mhm.
agree?
Yes. And then that is negative 3.2 minus 6.
The 4/3?
Yeah. Oh no, not the 4/3, the ln.
Well, because of that.
Because the
What's
one's
next?
3 6. Oh.
We have to do the e thing.
Ah, what do we do?
Oh, we have to do the e.
Yeah.
E to the power of both sides, right?
Okay, so e to the power of both sides. Ugly, ugly, ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Why 3 sig figs, right? So what happens when the e to the ln happens?
They cancel.
Cancels out, right, so 0.037x, good, nice.
Equals
E to the 4/3.
And whatever that is, so you have
Yeah.
to give me something.
So x is some random decimal.
3.793.
Yeah.
What is e to 4/3?
3.793.
Yes.
Go
Or
over
3.794. It's
Well,
3.6. Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's 3 6, so 0.794.
that. Okay, so we'll round until we get the decimal, the last part.
Yeah.
Okay, now what?
Divide by 0.037.
Uh-huh, so go for it.
102.53.
102.
Wow.
0.53.
That is an odd
One.
number.
Now, 3 significant figures.
That's
102.
102.
Yeah.
103.
103.
Do you round up? I don't know, I'm asking.
Yes.
Yeah.
You do?
Do you
Lots of
round up?
questions.
You
Yeah.
end up with 5.
Rounding rules never change, but the sig figs are.
I just write out
It's 103
two decimal places.
It is 103?
Just go for it.
Yeah. 103.
Why are we
I'd say
listening to
103.
you? You're gonna come up here and tell me how 103 is a guesstimate of, and then give me 3 different things.
Sine plus
And then put a
cosine
plus
is
in between.
103.
Wait, did you ever get a point for that sheet?
I did.
There's a huge sheet of it, but.
I did, I gave him a point.
Yeah.
Yes.
They should say at least 3 significant figures, and if you want to go out farther, then
Serious.
go ahead. Yeah.
So your ordered pair was really funky. 103.037. Are we feeling it?
Is that the answer?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
It's a. I would not.
LO3.
I got the answer.
Yeah.
Right?
One.
It'll be all the way out and then.
No, there's no way.
They tell you the sig
I would
thing
just go
now,
with
so
that.
that makes me feel better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did you notice though that it goes
Okay.
so far out and it goes.
So, the good news is,
That's usually not close.
I started off number 1 with another LN problem, and the rest I couldn't find any more. So that's good news, maybe. But I need you guys to just kind of, let's look at, because remember, I'm gonna be gone Thursday and Friday this week.
Yeah.
So let's talk. I'm thinking that today, tomorrow, we'll have discussion, make sure you get it. What do the directions part II or whatever ask is what we need to kind of discuss. So for number 1, if you're looking at number 1, initially it wants me to without telling me so. And by the way, these are from like the most recent test back. So number one would be something that we would have given probably last October, November, or maybe, something like that. So keep in mind that this is how it's kind of evolved. So a curve, 3nlx plus 6xy plus y squared equals 16. Find the equation of the normal to the curve at the point 1, 2, and give your answer in the form of ax plus by plus c. Notice it's a 7-point question. Yes?
So we take the derivative, plug in our x value, that gives you the slope of the tangent line, and then take the opposite reciprocal of that, you have the normal, and then plug in your point, and then you have your equation, and make it sure it's in ax plus by plus c equals 0.
Can somebody else tell me exactly what he said? That was a perfect answer he gave me. Can somebody else tell me that's not sure of how to do that problem as far as the normal is concerned?
Take derivative.
Take a derivative.
Plug in
And
x.
Plug in, you're going to end up plugging in x and y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay? So plug in your x and y. What does that give you?
The slope of any potential tangent line.
The slope of a tangent.
So you have to do
But
that.
it wants normal. So you do what?
Yep.
So you take the
Opposite
opposite
reciprocal.
reciprocal.
Okay, we're feeling it.
He said it so
He
fast.
said it so fast that it was
And
brilliant.
then point slope with
My
these
favorite formula
points, and then
with 2 and 1 and that opposite
And
reciprocal
then you
slope.
just fix everything.
You
up.
gotta make it pretty because they don't want no fractions in it, right? They don't want anything that looks like a fraction. They want it in the standard format. Ax plus by plus c is 0.
I mean,
Beautiful.
technically, can't the A and B be a fraction?
Yeah, not when you're doing standard form. Technically, we say yes, but not with the standard form. The true definition of standard form.
multiply everything by whatever denominator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so number 1. Number 2. It's more obvious that they want you to find dy dx, I think, part I. And then it says, and then it says find the coordinates of each point on the curve where the tangent is parallel to the x-axis. Something is parallel to the x-axis, slope equals 0. So when your slope equals 0, that means your numerator only is equal to 0. Okay, so you would solve for y in terms of x, or vice versa, x in terms of y. Plug those back into the original, and actually find your coordinates.
So for this problem, you're saying you would set the 2x minus 2y, because that's the numerator to 0. Or not, I'm sorry, that's the denominator, the 3x minus 2y.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then you're going to get like y equals 3/2 x, and then you plug that back in your original
Yep.
and work your magic to find out what that x is.
Similar to the one we just did.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah.
For, like, this problem has ln x, that's just for the derivative of it is 1.
1 over x times 3,
Okay.
because this is way outside. You're very good. Yeah. All right, moving on to number 3. Again, it's very nice. They tell me to find dy dx. Find the coordinates of the points on the curve at which the gradient is -1.
So set the slope equal to -1.
Set the slope equal to -1. Do what we just did a few minutes ago. Set it equal to -1. Start to clean it up. Start to solve for something. And then what do we do with once we kind of clean it up, like y in terms of x? We plug it back in to the original to find the coordinates. Is everybody okay with that? Okay. All right, the next one. The curve on the graph is stuff. Show that the tangent to the curve at the point -2, 2 is parallel to the x-axis. So what is that they're asking me to do?
Well, they want you to take a derivative.
Sure.
And then prove that the slope is 0.
When you use the point
Negative 2, 2.
-2, 2.
So derive
Yeah.
those 2 points in.
And you show that it's equal to 0. Then it says find the equation of the tangent to the curve at the other point for which x equals -2, and then give your answer in the form of. Find the equation of the tangent to the curve at the other point at which the curve equals x equals -2. So you
So
would,
there should be another point.
Yeah.
you're going to plug
So
it in.
you're gonna have plus and minus situation?
Correct.
Okay.
Somewhat.
Well, yeah, they're squared.
Okay. All right, moving to the next part of that. It says the equation of the curve, again. It says find the coordinates of the 2 points on the curve where x equals 1.
Another plus minus situation.
Well, this one's actually, I think, a little easier.
Well, you don't have to take a derivative.
No, what does it want me to do?
Just plug in 1 for x,
And then do what?
solve for y,
Yeah.
and then,
So
yeah.
what is it doing? It's prefacing, it's starting you with a process to find ordered pairs, you know?
Okay.
Are we good with that?
It's a lot of
Well, you have the
points.
factor.
It's actually 2 points, right?
No, I'm looking at II.
Oh, I, okay.
There's 3 lines of wording.
Yeah, right. Show by differentiation. Implicit differentiation is what you're going to use. That at one of these points, the tangent to the curve is parallel to the x-axis. So
It's 0.
at one of those points, the slope will be 0. So once you take the derivative and you plug in those points, you should get a 0.
And then once you,
And then once you
Other
find that
point?
given point,
It says find the equation of the tangent line to the curve at the other point.
okay.
So it wants you to show that one of them has a slope of 0,
And then the other
and then
one,
use the other point to find the equation of the tangent line.
yeah,
Okay? That's a lot of words, but I think very doable.
yes.
And then number 6, the equation of the curve is given, find dy dx. Okay?
Mhm.
Find the equation of the tangent to the curve at the point 24, given your answer in the form of. That's the easiest. Obviously, you see that the complexity perhaps scaled down a little bit, maybe. You know,
Mhm.
although
Well,
number
the
5
way
is
they word
lengthy, the way they word has changed a bit.
Yeah.
So, and these are definitely consecutive years. So it's interesting how I could teach you a concept. It's just, what are they going to do to ask you? You know, that's the question. So you have a good 6 questions that should last 3 days,
Uh-huh.
I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think so.
We have 20 minutes.